Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and today we're taking an early look at a game that is in Steam Early Access called Lifeless Planet. Lifeless Planet is a game being developed with the Unity engine by one man over at Stage 2 Studios by the name of David Board. This is his game, this is what he's been working on for quite some time now, and I just recently discovered Lifeless Planet. I heard about it a couple days ago, actually I think it was about a week ago now, where I stumbled upon it, and it was just, you know, one of those things where I was on the internet and somebody mentioned it, and I was like, what, Lifeless Planet, what's this? What's this? And I stumbled over to the website and I started to read about it and I was like, man, how have I not known about this? This looks wonderful. So what type of game is Lifeless Planet before we go ahead and start playing? Just so you guys know, you're aware of what you're going to be watching. It's an adventure game. It's an exploration game. Obviously sci-fi based. You play as an astronaut. You're on a planet and you are discovering a story. That's the type of game it is. You know, there's not going to be like shooting mechanics here. This isn't some crazy action game. It's about discovering a story, and I'm a huge fan of these games. I know some people find them maybe dull or boring, but it's a genre that to me that is sort of forgotten, you know, telling a story in a simplistic manner without all these crazy Hollywood effects and without tons of money, and doing it in a way where it's just so well done. You know, you use the atmosphere, you use small environmental effects and details to tell this great story and to immerse the player in a really great world, and that's what I'm looking forward to hopefully doing inside of Lifeless Planet. So let's go ahead and play it. I haven't really touched it. You know, I've read about it and I've kind of gotten used to the controls and things of that nature and understand a little bit how the game works, but let's go ahead and push forward into Lifeless Planet. So we have our little crashed pod here, so let's go ahead and sparkle.
Oh, my head is killing me. It feels like I have a concussion. And where's my crew?
So the game does have actual, like, voicing. Basically, every time you discover something, you can walk up to it, and the astronaut himself will make a log of it. He'll also talk to himself, kind of give you a generalization of what the text is reading. Of course, you can read the text that's there. It's all saved inside of your Holo tab, so this is pretty cool. If we take a look closer at the pod, too, we can see it has an American flag, I believe it's a German flag, a Japanese flag, and I'm not sure what that bottom one is. I've never seen that before, to be honest. Maybe it's a new one, or maybe it's a flag that I just don't recognize. If you recognize that flag, let me know what it is in the comment section below. I'm curious. I'm very curious. So ISSA, I guess that's sort of like, you know, NASA that we're working for here. So yeah, where do we go? Let's go this way, I guess. Let's do what human nature tells us to do, which is to go towards actual objects and, you know, pieces of the landscape, landmarks. Low on oxygen, finding an oxygen supply. Okay, that's no good. Well, you guys just see that glint in the distance? I saw that glint. Let's hopefully make our way there. It's interesting when, you know, when a game does use something like this, the idea of, you know, what is a human going to be attracted towards? You can stick them in the middle of nowhere, but if you give them specific objects and certain elements, they will be able to find their way. It's how when I go traveling and I go to a city that I've never been in before, it's how I find my way around the city, just, you know, trying to find new things to explore, rather than looking at a map or the tourist side of things, you know. Hop on a bicycle, look into the skyscraper, you know, find the most interesting building, and then ride your way there. That's what I did when I was in DC anyways, and I saw a lot of cool stuff that way. Oxygen supply vehicle. Model 8A. These supply vehicles will be sent to the planet 3 days in advance of the landing party to provide for longer excursions on the planet's surface. However, because unmanned probes have determined the planet is rich with life and oxygen levels on the planet are at near Earth levels, these supply vehicles may not be needed. ISSA document 544 JB. Well, obviously they were, because we were running out of oxygen there, and this planet is far from filled with life. I would say this is as lifeless as it can get right now, so they lied. There's something going on here. Something is obviously amiss, or amuck. Something's not right. Let's see if we can't climb up on this rock. I want to see in the distance. Come on. There we go. So, the Unity engine. That is what this game is running on, and I think it's one of the most underrated engines around. I've seen people do beautiful work with the Unity engine, and I think what David has done here is a prime example of that. This is a very nice looking game. I find it very pretty. Let's actually listen to this, and we'll walk forward. We'll talk about visuals more when she's done talking.
That's right. We'll be traveling so fast, our spacecraft will arrive at the planet before the transmission of this interview does. But it's still such a long trip. We'll be put into a sort of coma. Our heart rate will be slowed dramatically to minimize aging during the flight.
How do you prepare for this one-way mission, knowing you will never return to Earth?
Well, I have a volunteer crew of very skilled and focused individuals. We all have a deep desire to explore, to go somewhere new. And frankly, we also have few attachments here on Earth.
So our first real sample of the music, which is pretty awesome. I really enjoyed that. That was a very nice little way of you know, relaying that interview that we had before we left Earth to come to whatever planet is where that we're on. And so we got a little bit of background information about our astronaut here. He doesn't have too many ties left, and he came here with an entire crew, which we haven't really seen. He does mention that in the very beginning when we examined our sort of drop pod there. That there was, you know, his crew's gone, so I guess that's going to be one of our things, is finding the crew. I've also discovered some of the controls while she was talking. We can actually walk with left bumper, and we can turn our flashlight with right bumper. I guess I should mention I am playing with an Xbox 360 gamepad. You can play with a mouse and keyboard, or the Xbox gamepad. Either or works on the fly very nicely. Whoa! Oh man, that was that was unexpected to say the least. See, the visual style of Lifeless Planet is a prime example of, I think, what Unity does best, which is allowing you to make very, very nice looking, you know, worlds and effects and models at low cost. You know, they're not these crazy, ridiculously high poly, you know, models you'd find in like a CryEngine, but it looks very nice, and it has, I mean, this is just, the atmosphere on this planet that I've been on so far is wonderful.
Jetpack works.
We have a jetpack.
Mostly.
Okay, so his jetpack can still put out a single burst, which is useful for short jumps. I guess we'll make use of the jetpack and see how it functions. Oh, okay. So you can't turn while you're using the jetpack. It just kind of thrusts you in one direction, which I believe in a realistic scientific manner, that's how a jetpack, you know, kind of works. You just thrust in one direction, and in order to thrust in another, you'd have to be able to thrust the opposite direction, whether it be by turning your body or by having another set of thrusters. No signs of life. Remote observations were conclusive. This planet was rich with life. Yeah, I wouldn't call this rich. We're like the only thing that's been alive since we've came to this planet. So something fishy's going on. There's a story to be told. Now, when I saw the trailer for this game originally, I would have to say the biggest thing was, you know, wanting to know what was happening. It's why I became interested in the game, because you saw the pieces of the story in the trailer, and I was like, okay, I want to know this story. You know, I want to know what happens with our astronaut. I want to know what happened, why we're here, where this planet is. I want answers, and I think that's the best sort of adventure game, the best sort of exploration game. You know, gives the player a lot of questions that need to be answered. Ugh. Okay, so we need to do something with the rock. That's where we came from. I'm assuming we're just going to want to get up on that ledge with it, so let's pop it over here. Looks like a small introduction to some puzzle mechanics. Maybe this will get more complex later on. Be interesting to see what he does with it later on.
I need to get up there somehow.
We got this. The narration from the astronaut is a really nice touch. I mean, you play a game like this and you wouldn't expect it to have any voice acting, really. Especially not to the caliber and the quality that this is done. I don't know who voiced this, the astronaut, but I think it's very well done. His voice is very fitting. You know, it just fits the character that I've already built in my head for the astronaut, I guess you could say, which is very nice. This planet itself, wherever it is it's one of those examples I think of. You know, it feels somewhat like Earth in ways. I mean, we have like this waterfall, but at the same way, it feels very foreign, you know? I mean, it doesn't look familiar, but it does at the same time, if anybody gets what I'm saying. What is that? Are those alive? Whoa, what is it, yo? It's like a weird frog or something. Can I catch one? It's like a giant green tadpole. Oh, it disappeared. Okay, so I can't catch those. Let's just make our way up the side of this waterfall. That was really creepy, though, that sound. I don't know if that was like a rock in the distance or if that's the sound that those things were making, but that was extra creepy. Oh, one thing I should point out that I believe David actually just recently added back in January, I think, is real-time reflections on the gold visor. Check that out, yo. That is... Let's face this way. That is very, very nice detail. And things like that, you know, some people I think will blow off small details like that and just be like, oh, you know, you didn't even need that. But no, it adds to the experience. It's small details that can bring together an entire, you know, experience that a player has with the game. Small touches like that are very important to me. And I think many people, you know, there are a lot of people who realize small touches like that can really enhance a game quite a bit, whether it be gameplay or just from a visual standpoint and how the player is going to feel when they play the game. I think we have a cutscene, in-game cutscene nonetheless. All you AAA developers out there, take note. No reason to pull the player out of the engine, especially when your game looks as pretty as this does. So that's like, this is like the typical Midwestern road that we have here with the power lines going along it. This is not creepy or anything.
What is going on here?
The town. So as I said though, guys, before I want to mention once again, the game is in early access. It's not finished. It's being developed by one man. He's working on it still, and it's not everything is here, but there is quite a bit here. And just playing this, what I'm playing right now that you guys are hearing me, you know, talk about the game, I don't think is going to do the game complete justice. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to play the entire game. Obviously not in one sitting, but we're going to do this over the course of the next several weeks, however long it takes, play through all of the content that is available to us in early access, and then I definitely want to come back to this game as David adds more to it, because it's a game, there's a story to be told, there's a story to be discovered, and I want to know it, and I'd like to I think that it's important that we play through and commentate the entire game to get the full experience. But let's see, we have a point of interest here.
What is the point of all this? Okay, I need to stay calm.
So, okay, let's take a brief look at this log. 15 years I hung in cryo like a bag of forgotten frozen vegetables. That's what they said anyway. They played us real good with that story they spun. Another planet suitable for housing human life? Can't believe I fell for it. I actually have to compliment them on the lack of oxygen. That's a really nice touch. Of course, they probably just tampered with the meters. I bet I could take off my helmet right now. Is that what this is? A test to see how long it takes us to break protocol? I'm not some rocket jockey kid playing at being an astronaut. What in the world is the point of all this, and where do they take my crew? I need to stay calm. My head is still spinning from the crash. I probably need a doctor. I bet they think that's funny too. So our astronaut at this point thinks it's all a hoax and that he's been set up by the ISSA or whoever is, you know, running this whole mission, this operation. But what we have found is a town filled with lots of nice small details, including how hardcore that flag is being flapped back and forth.
How is this possible?
Which gives a very nice sense of how brutal this planet actually is right now with the winds on it and the conditions. So we have an oxygen tank. So when we refilled our oxygen, it said we had enough for 8 hours. So I'm curious if you can actually run out of oxygen in the game. I imagine that you could. Okay, so someone is speaking in Russian actually now. Let's see if we can get a gist of what he's talking about. When they described green fire to me, it sounded artificial. Something drawn in an animation. To imagine I would lay my eyes on a world so colorful, I am overwhelmed by its beauty. And now we begin a difficult journey to cultivate this place in the name of the motherland. The government of the West call our intentions aggressive. They do not believe in the sovereignty that is our Soviet Union. But we have seen so many victories. We have repelled German aggression and our glorious rise to power, and fought with valor to spread communism ideal to other broken nations. But what we accomplish here will drive the Soviet Union ahead of the entire world without ever firing a shot. We will power the entire Soviet Union with what we learn here. I am the one who will lead us to victory. He's still talking, so I ruined the whole, like, cool American translator thing, but basically that's what's happened. You know, the Russians have obviously been here. There's industrial equipment, there's housing. Let's take a look around this town and see if we can't find any other little points of interest to give us some more story. And this is the experience, guys. This is what this type of game is about. It's about, you know, discovery and finding pieces of the story through whatever means the developer provides you in the game, or even making up your own assumptions. I love these games. I really do. I really do. I used to play a ton of them when I was working for Pixabyte, and I haven't had the chance to experience something like this in a while, and it's put a big grin on my face. It reminds me of how I felt when I played the Swapper, so that's good, because I really loved the Swapper. That game was fantastic. And if what you guys are seeing here interests you, I will have links in the description below, of course, to the main website for Lifeless Planet. You can go check it out, as well as to the Steam page if you're interested in picking it up. It's like 15 bucks. It's nothing, man. It's nothing. Alright, I don't see anything over that way. There's an interesting tower in the distance. Oh, what's that? And it looks like maybe some sort of a like entry point to a bunker. Let's go check this out though. A small fenced in area over here. Oh, it's a graveyard. Okay. It's a graveyard. I see. Do you hear there's small music, you can hear music just faintly playing. Oh, nice touch. So I guess we could kind of put together some sort of story based on, you know, what's happened in this town from what we've discovered. I mean, obviously the Russians were here at some point. Things, you know, didn't go great. So maybe this planet's a lot more hostile than we originally thought. And maybe it is actually inhabited. Maybe it's not all a hoax, my dear astronaut friend.
These graves seem pretty makeshift. Like they were in a hurry to bury the bodies.
Alright. Enough sorrow. Let's go see what's over in this bunker over here. Let's bound our way there.
It's locked.
Find both parts of the security code. Okay. It's a very creepy bunker. Alright, well, let's make our way to that other tower then. Navigating through points of interest. Let's do it that way. I like the animation for the astronaut's walk. It's very nice. This is a game filled with very pleasant small details. I like that. Like some sort of a church? I'm surprised they were able to build something like that without the wind here, like, tearing off the top of it. Uh-oh. I think it's time for the environment to try and kill me again. It was a rockfall later on, now it's a tornado. Ah. Come on, make it inside the building. Make it to safety. Alright, we got this. We're alright. Whoa, astronaut.
Are you okay? Oh man, this is messed up. Listen, you're almost out of oxygen. Pretty low myself, but I'm gonna give you everything I can. I think there may be some air canisters in that town. Okay, you're gonna be all right now. Just hang in there, buddy. We'll figure this out together, all right? Whoa! Ah!
What the hell? What just happened? Is this planet like alive or something? Oh my god, dude, not cool. Damn it. I was enjoying not being alone for once. Well, we have the first half of the security code, Southern Laboratory. 331. In keeping with the security protocol, this portion of the security code must be kept separate from the other half of the code, auto-translated from Russian. Well then. I'm intrigued, to say the least. I think if I had to pick a word to describe this game, it would be intrigue, I guess. Yeah, that's probably the best word I can come up with. I'm very interested to see where this story goes now, and I hope you guys will join me in the next episode. We're going to go ahead and continue this next week. Again, if you guys are interested in learning more about Lifeless Planet, about the developer behind it, go check out the website. I'll have it linked in the description below. I also have a link to the Steam page. If this is something you want to check out for yourself, you want to experience Lifeless Planet on your own, you can go ahead and do that by picking up a copy of the game in early access over on Steam. I also would like to thank David Board at Stage 2 Studios for hooking me up with a copy of the game so I could preview it. Thank you very much, David. I've enjoyed playing your game a lot. This game has genuinely put a big smile on my face. I cannot wait to play more. It's been Tony Mo, and I'll see you guys in the next one.